Welcome to the 2010 PaddyPowerPoker.com Irish Open from the Burlington Hotel in Dublin. It's the oldest poker tournament in Europe and certainly the most respected. 708 players are making their way through Dublin to the holy grail of poker for a share in the €2.2 million prize pool. They've come from as far away as the USA, Canada, Israel, Australia, South Africa, and the rest of Europe, and even further afield. Limerick. No, that's not Jesse. Here he is.
Well, you can hear the hum in the background because this year's Irish Open is about to begin. But what we thought we'd do, we've brought back last year's champion, Krista Johansson, and last year's runner-up, Cara Scott, to recreate the pivotal hand in your heads-up.
Raise.
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 To 575,000. All in.
I call.
Call.
I know you hate to relive this hand, don't you?
Yeah. I do, but the honest truth is I had not played very much heads up at that point in my career, and I knew that Krista was a better player, so I was trying to play quite fast because I figured that's a lot of where my edge would come, was really gambling a little bit and seeing what I could get, because I didn't want to play down the streets with them.
Right, it was only like the 13th hand of heads
Yeah.
up. You'd already lost a few chips and then gained some back. So you raised before the flop, didn't you?
Absolutely. I mean, and I would do the same now. That's a perfectly standard hand to raise pre-flop with, definitely.
And then, Krista, you called with King 3 thinking...
Well, King High is pretty good, usually, and I like to see a flop with it.
So the flop came down, what was it, King, Jack 7, I think. And
Yes.
you checked.
I checked that.
And then, Cara, you put about 175,000 in.
Yeah, you know, continuation bet. I'd also hit middle pair there, which is probably pretty good. And I'd heard, you know, heads up, middle pair is pretty good. Not this time. This time, maybe I wouldn't. If he hasn't hit that, he's probably going to fold, and it might be better to let him bluff at the next street so I could check behind. I also don't think he's going to bluff raise that flop now, knowing him as a player as I do. So if I do bet into it and he raises me, I think I can find a fold there. Can we do it again? Can I get the fold?
It's funny, though, but Krista, I mean, to be that strong with a king and no kicker, you must have realized that Cara was capable. Is that because you played with her on the final table all day?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of draws out there also. I mean, there's a lot of straight possibilities and a flush draw, so I want to win the hand right away.
And when you check raise that flop to 575, are you're never folding at that stage?
Well, I would never say never, but wow.
You had learned.
Yeah, it was very tough call.
And I mean, do you think, Cara, that maybe now if you would take it back, you say you were a little too aggressive and Krista just picked you off?
Yeah, definitely. And I think considering that he thought I was such an aggressive player, just shoving there was pretty bad anyways. You know, I could have just called as well and let him bet another street. If he was still behind, then, you know, I'd make more chips that way, get more value. I would play it a little differently now, yeah.
It's a queen. The winner. An ace of diamonds, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, you can't buy what this event has. You can't buy the buzz about it. And, you know, I'm the kind of guy that needs a little bit of inspiration. I mean, you know, to get me really going. And this is certainly the tournament that does it. You know, I mean, coming home and playing in front of an Irish crowd and with Irish players, you know, it's like a dream, this. I mean, this is my favorite day of the year.
Probably my third or fourth time over the last decade, so yeah, always had good times. Not great results, but good fun, and end up being in the bar more often than not than at the table.
My hopes for this weekend are not to lose too much. Just usually have too much to drink in Ireland, and then you just sort of lose sense of what you're supposed to be doing. But it's a great place, great tournament, and meet lots of good friends here. So
Yeah, another Irish Open here. Really looking forward to this one. Looks fantastic, buzz around the place. It's just hopping here now. Can't wait to get going, really.
My head is good. I've just been skiing for 9 days. So I've been doing high altitude training, which of course now, as all poker players know, is completely essential to have any chance.
Everybody's here to enjoy themselves, even though it's costing $3.5 grand. Most of them don't care. And a lot of them, nearly half of them, have qualified online, so it's not costing them any money. So it's going to be a big party for the weekend.
I always enjoy playing in this event every year. It's kind of one that people look forward to all year long, and it hasn't let down so far.
Can't wait. I mean, this is the best event in Europe by a mile, so I'm really hoping this is going to be the year.
I got really close last year to get in the money. I finished in 78 with 72, but it was really a great experience, and it's a fantastic event. I mean, I've never been to the World Series. I'd love to go one day, but this is like an Irishman's World Series, you know, so this is fantastic.
I really want to win this tournament, but I won't be too disappointed when I get knocked out, because you can see with the atmosphere here, there's always great crack around the bar and stuff. And this is like a bit of a stag weekend for me as well. I'm getting married next Thursday, so as soon as I get knocked out, I'll be on the Guinness for the rest of the weekend.
Everybody here cares, you know, the guys behind the desk out in the Burlington Hotel, I mean, they've all got an interest. You go and buy the paper, somebody's asking you, how are you going to do today? I mean, there's just a unique buzz to this, and it's partly because of the history, and partly because, I mean, Irish poker is just the most fun you're ever going to have playing the game.
In seat number 1 from Germany, this is Torsten Knorr. He's from Berlin, has been playing poker for about 4.5 years. Seat number 2 tonight, he's a sole survivor. This is Gerard Martin from County Wexford. Not a full-time poker player, but perhaps he's going to be one. Seat number 3, big name on the European scene, had a lot of results on the European Poker Tour this year, Roberto Romanello. Seat number 4, a youngster, he's also a sole survivor, only 27 years old, looks about 18. This is Christopher Conlon. Another big London player. He's been far and wide. A lot of results over in Vegas. This is Joe Gresh. Originally from Russia, now from County Meath, this is Thomas Galesnius. And in seat number 7, there's a Dane on the table, 26-year-old Anders Rasmussen from Aarhus.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, a very warm welcome to the 2010 PaddyBarPoker.com Irish Open. As you can see, we're back in the Burlington, a great venue. There's going to be music and all sorts of crack in the bar every night, so we hope you really enjoy yourselves. And I just want to wish you all the very, very best of luck. I want to say my favourite few words now to the dealers. So when you're ready, could you please shuffle up and deal?
25 and 50, please.
It is so exciting always when this Irish Open begins. 2010, and I'm pleased to be joined by Ross O'Mullane, who's been on the scene, Ross, for this Irish Open every year for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yes, this is my 6th Irish Open now, Jesse, and it's just getting better and better every year. I think we've got a really great event here at the Burlington this year.
Yeah, and the guy's so excited to come back to the Burlington Hotel. The last time I was at the Burlington, of course, Marty Smith was the winner, so it means a lot to him as well.
Yeah, I mean, Marty's hoping to do that again, I'm sure.
I think maybe, you know, everyone feels like, okay, the Irish Open is always going to be about 50% Irish players, but it is very international as far as the mix of Europeans that come as well.
Yeah, I mean, every year more and more people are coming from further afield. A couple of Yanks here as well, maybe less than in previous years, but all across Europe. And you can go into Russia and Romania now as well. It's getting bigger and bigger.
So these 8 players on the table. One seat is got chips. It's sort of a dead stack. That will be filled by George McKeever. I think he's just arriving late, and he'll be a big name when he arrives here. I think we've got a raise here from Anders Rasmussen. And he, I don't know, you know, just you kind of see 26-year-old Dane from Aarhus. He reminds me, when I see him at the Irish Open, a guy like that, you think about Peter Eastgate, who, if you remember, the last time we were at the Burlington Hotel, Peter Eastgate made the final 2 tables.
Yeah.
And that was before he won the World Series of Poker main event.
Yeah, I mean, clearly this is a better event than the World Series of Poker, but it's great to get to go over to the States and show how hard the Irish Open is.
Exactly. There's Anders Rasmussen. I think, is it the Fox from Waterford who made the final table that year? He dogged Peter Eastgate's aces and can say from then on, you know, that he knocked out the world champion of the Irish Open.
He had huge support. When he got knocked out, everyone left and went to the bar, and there was just a cleaner and a cook left watching on the feature tables.
True. And this is Anders the Dane. I think one of the features, not just the Irish Open, Ross, but of poker, is how tough the players you've never seen before are likely to be.
Yeah, I mean, all these internet qualifiers, you don't know where they've come from. It's like a second Viking invasion. They came here first in 998 and set up our lovely city, and then they're back to take all our chips.
Raise 150 total.
And you talk to some of the Irish guys who've come over and the Germans, whatever, and they all have such good things to say about being in Dublin, being in Ireland, the atmosphere here. So many people are back here for the second and third year in a row now.
Yeah, and the venue, the Burlington, is great. People can they can saunter into the city from here and stumble home later on in the evening after a few drinks in town. It's a great location.
So we've got a re-raise, a 3-bet actually. Gerard Martin re-raising Anders Rasmussen, and they're going to the flop. This is the first time we've seen a 3-bet, so it'll be interesting to see how what these guys want to do.
Deuce 5-9.
And it's the kind of flop where if you were best before the flop, you're best after the flop. So,
check.
You know, if Rasmussen has a pocket pair or ace king, and those are the kind of, I guess those are the kind of things you're thinking about.
Will Ger get himself in a lot of trouble with that bet?
Cool.
Looks like he's bet 1,000. This is starting to get serious now. This pot's up there, over 3,300, and I mean, with the re-raise and the bet on the flop, Martin's kind of representing a big pair here: queens, kings, aces, that range.
Check. 2,000.
And that's a serious bet.
Ger's leading, could find himself in all sorts of tricky positions here.
I kind of think the way Rasmussen has played this, he's got something like, you know, 7s, 8s, 10s, maybe even jacks, and is going to have to decide if it's worth his stack. Does Martin have the big pair?
Raise to 4,500 total.
He's re-raised him.
Oh, that's serious.
Oh, and he's a serious-looking guy as well. Ger has a lot of thinking to do now.
What do you do if you're Martin right now and you've got like that big pair? Because like, if you're Rasmussen, you can't really make this bet unless you can beat kings or aces.
Yeah.
You've been re-raised. He's bet into you twice.
I think Ger would have been happy if Anders went back to Denmark after his last bet, and now he's thinking, what'll I do for the rest of the weekend? He looks like a broken man. Meanwhile, Anders isn't giving away anything. That body language is stone cold. He's been listening to Lady Gaga.
Is he going to show? First serious pot of the tour. I mean, that is a big pot. And Gerard Martin's sole survivor going to have to stare down the Dane. Well, they've played about 2 rounds of the table so far. And Anders Rasmussen, he flopped a set, made it pay. That's why he's got the early lead. Gerard Martin already about 2/3 stacked, which is not where he wants to be. Blinds are up to their second level now, 50, 100. And Ross, I mean, the chips at this table really tell the story of what's happening. The guys who have the chips, it's been so apparent that they've been playing good, strong, aggressive poker.
Yeah, and they've been
Call one.
hitting the cards in the way the guys who are losing aren't. I suppose, you know, Jared's been sponsoring all the other players at the table. He should print up little logos for himself and stick them on the other guys' tops, because he's giving them all his chips at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess cards make winners look smart and cards make losers look dumb, because like it's hard to fathom how anybody sitting in Gerard's seat is going to have any chips at all. You know, anybody else than him. You know, he had tough hands to play.
You know, he might want to change his strategy during a tournament, but even if he wins a few hands, if he keeps playing like that, he won't hold on to them for very long.
He's got a game that's based on hitting flops, isn't he? We got a pot here, by the way, and
Another cool raise, make it 400.
Romanello has let out at this. Conlin's raised with 2 pair, and Rasmussen, who has top 2 pair. This is massive because Gresh is in as well with the flush draw.
And a 5, you remember what could happen with that as well. This is a big one.
And I'm not sure if Christopher Conlin's going to get away from this. The question is, what is...
Re-raise, 1250.
Then this is now serious money.
Yeah.
This is now serious money and a big decision for Conlin. Because, I mean, Ross, you could say to yourself, if you're Chris Conlin, you look at that and you say, that kind of board, you know, Rasmussen's raising me on a queen-king. He's raising me on a diamond draw. There's only a couple hands that beat him here. How do you get away from this?
You possibly don't. I mean, you know, when are you going to play hand? You got top pair, also with bottom pair. 4% chance to win the hand, but he doesn't know that.
If he can find a fold here, he's either scared, really good, or just plain confused.
He's got to be looking at the diamonds as well, thinking that's another reason for me not to want to be here.
And the big problem he's got to face, Ross, is since he has Joe Gresh in the middle behind him, you know, is calling an option? Is he thinking I have to re-raise or pass? This is a really tricky spot, and that is that is classy.
That's a mature fold.
Oh my gosh. Lot different story for Joe Gresh because he's got a big draw, number 1, and number 2, he's closing the action. And if it comes a diamond or a 5, wow.
Anders Rasmussen having a very slight show of emotion there. He uses eyes to look at someone else. And that's the first time we've seen that. He must be wondering what Gresh has.
This pot's massive.
No diamonds. Joe can't be happy.
Check.
He gives a very quick check. Rasmussen might pounce on him here. Ooh, I thought it was...
I mean, if you bet here, and
2,100.
That's asking a big question of Joe Gresh. You really can't stick around hoping for another diamond, can he?
I mean, you know, it's because he's got that 5 as well, isn't it, Ross? He might be thinking, if I hit my king, we know. If he hits the king, it's good. If he hits the 5, it's good. He's got a lot of outs here. And he may even have some bluffing outs. He might say to himself, you know, if it comes a 9, if it comes an ace, I can try and stick them all in. This is a chance to get a really big stack in this tournament, and this is the biggest pot we've seen. He might be thinking of bluffing in some spots here, Greg. What he wants is the diamond, though. And this is the kind of card where if Gresh decides to bluff, well, he hasn't.
He hemorrhaged a lot of chips there. Now he's down to 4,500 chips. He lost about 3,000 chips there. He can't be happy with that.
Yeah. And there's no way Anders Rasmussen is betting in that spot. That pot's 7,000. He wants to show him down and take the money, and that is exactly what he's going to do.
Rasmussen can do no wrong.
Last year's winner, Christer Johansson, on one of the outer tables here, Ross, and what a victory. He's a long-time player, and he played really well last year.
Yeah, he'll be back again and again. All the winners, they always come back. They think, oh, that's my tournament. I kind of won that once. I own the Irish Open. And great to see him again. And I hear Ken Doherty, former world snooker champion, is here this weekend. Oh,
there he is. Loves his poker, Ken Doherty. Absolutely loves his poker. How strong would it be, out of all the 700 players sitting down to play this tournament, Ross, if one of the final tablists is at this table right now? You never know.
You never know. It's a guess. Anders Rasmussen's doubled his money in an hour and a half of play.
5-fold.
He's looking strong.
He must be among the chip leaders right now.
Yeah, definitely. But that said, we've got 35 hours or so to play this tournament. It's anybody's game. Jer Martin's still in there, you know. You never know who's going to win.
And this was the idea, what Romanello was thinking earlier. He was thinking that Rasmussen is starting to get out of line. And for Jer Martin right now, this is a big decision. Calling.
Three call.
Oh, calling feels expensive right now.
Yeah, for once though, he's he's ahead here.
He is ahead.
Let's see if he flops something decent. Jolene, the dealer, gives us 5 queen 10. Not bad for him, but it's better for Rasmussen yet again.
Yeah, Anders just like owning everything, isn't he?
Martin got to be saying, what do I have to do to get a break around
500?
here?
Well, Martin's got a real decision here.
Call 500 too.
This pot is now around $2,000, and Martin does not have that much more left in his stack. This could be all or nothing for him.
2 players.
Territory Ross.
It's tough days, and the rich are just getting richer.
Come on, the 10.
Another club. This could be good for Jer. Will he finally get some money back from Rasmussen?
Well, if you are Anders right now, you might look at that card and think it's time to slow down a little bit. It's not a great turn card for his hand.
Or go for the kill in case your opponent's holding a high club.
If he does bet here, Ross.
7 bets, 700.
If he does
700
calls,
bet.
700.
Yeah.
2 players, 2 and 7.
Jer called, did he? No, he's happy.
Yeah, he has. He has. This is a big pot for Martin. He needs the club. He's got it!
Jer can't believe his luck. Finally, he says. And he'll get paid, possibly. Rasmussen's got to fold if Jer does anything, right?
Has he checked it? No, he's
2
bad.
bets, 1,200.
Oh, his face slightly moved. A slight smile from Rasmussen.
And this is the first real spot of pickle Rasmussen has been in. It's also the very first time Martin's had something to be really proud about. He's got the nuts.
Martin's going to love taking this down. Anders, of course, has a flush as well, but he knows it's worthless at this stage.
How much? 12? 1,200 total,
I mean,
yes.
You know, he can't beat anything that's betting for value, but he can beat a bluff.
And it's pocket change to him.
Fold. Fold?
It's a good pass. That's a pretty classy pass, actually.
Yeah. I think he knew immediately he was doing that, but just wanted to have a think about it, make sure.
2 wins.
Stare Jer down.
Yeah, it's Jer Martin is finally standing up and saying hello, isn't he?
Seven raises, 350 total.
Rasmussen's back.
8 folds. 1 fold.
He does have such a this is my pot mentality. And his most likely competitor tonight, his most frequent one, Garrett.
4 calls.
Yeah. And yet again, they're at it again. And Conlon, who's come into the game recently, 3-way.
2, 4, and 7.
Ooh.
Action on 4.
This,
4
because of their relationship, this is the kind of pot that could spiral out of control.
Yeah, Conlon wants out. He wants his last bet back, if you wouldn't mind. And Martin's got his 4 spades. This could go anyway.
Like, up to this point in the tournament, Jer Martin has been calling with these kind of hands. But you know what? He's just, you can see he said to himself, I'm not calling Rasmussen anymore. I'm going to raise him. And the money could all go in. It could all go in.
This could be Jer Martin's last hand in the 2010 Irish Open.
2,350.
I'll tell you what, win or lose, you got to respect Jer Martin's play here. He's got the flush draw.
Rasmussen doesn't know what to do behind those steely eyes.
Race. It's 1575 to you. I'll pull it in.
He's thinking 5, king, spades.
20.
What do I do?
Who's got some egg, baby?
I mean, as it turns out, okay, Rasmussen does have the king, but if he didn't, this raise would have worked by Jer Martin. They're going to spin this in, and look, he's not in that bad shape.
He can afford this as well. It's no massive skin off his nose. Jer's eyes could speak now, they would be saying, "Go away, leave me alone. I want this pot, please." and at least one spade.
Rasmussen is generally, I guess, worried that Jer could have a 5 here. What do you think?
It's a very big bet for a 5. If you had a 5, you'd be looking to get paid off, maybe. That said, if you had a 5, you wouldn't want a guy with spades sticking around, would you?
I wonder if part of this has to do with the fact that this is something that Jer has not done up to this point tonight.
Re-raise.
Yeah, he's going to stick them all in. We're going to have action.
Okay.
This is big.
2.
Jer has to call this.
Of course he does. And you know what? Look how big this pot is. If he can hit the spade or the ace, Ross, he is so back in this thing. Where is your heart? Ireland or Denmark?
75.
Okay, don't answer that.
All right, boys, show me.
We have an all-in and a call. Anders Rasmussen has about 11K back, but look at this pot.
He can't believe what Martin has. He's ahead. He's happy.
He's not that far ahead. 2 tries to hit the spade or the ace.
Tight enough for you?
Jared Martin stopped breathing around 2 minutes ago, and he's to wait for the flop and turn to come.
There it is! Oh, that hurts. But he's got redraws, a 5 or a king.
This could be painful. Jesse, you called it. Jared Martin will win 10,000. He'll be back on his original stack if he wins this.
That's a blank.
Ace-high flush.
And Jared Martin has gotten them all back and then some. You hit me once, you hit me twice. I'll get there sooner or later.
They hit him around 20 times.
They did.
But he's back.
They did.
The resurrection on Good Friday. Jesus himself couldn't have written this.
And for Anders Rasmussen, all that good work for naught.
The Danish baking is sizzling on Jared Martin's barbecue this Good Friday.
Well, we had our first all-in, we had our first call, and for Jared Martin, Ross, back to level.
Amazing performance. We thought he was dead and gone. He's there, and Anders Rasmussen is unfortunately on the way down at the moment, unless he can turn that around.
Is it too early to sort of thinking that this feels like best Irish Open ever? Is it too early to say that? I mean, it is probably.
No, I think it's just the very right time to say that. Going for about 30 years now, it's been a pretty long, hard winter for a lot of people. And this springtime comes out, and this is the beginning of spring with the Irish Open.
Yeah.
And look what we've just woken up with here.
I think you said it perfect. This is, you can feel the positive hope in this room. That's what this tournament was about. And it's a big decision for Jared Martin. What do you think?
Oh, the 2 PaddyPowerPoker.com qualifiers, queens versus 10s. Who's going to fold those for the flop when the betting ain't that big?
You almost feel for Jared Martin. He just got himself back into this tournament, and now if this flop comes raggedy, I'm scared. I'm scared for him.
Check. 2 checks.
Can he get away from these 10s? And is Conlon going to punish him?
It's very difficult to put Conlon on any hand here.
2 calls.
They've both got overpairs. They can't know what each other has. Who acts first is going to win this hand.
There's like a full 4 grand in here.
2 checks.
And the only thing Jared Martin's losing to is an overpair. If Conlon goes big, Martin could be going home.
Four bets, 2,000.
And that's the kind of bet. If you're Conlon right now, you want to get called, but you don't want to get raised.
Yeah, a steady hand like a snake dropping off is a huge bet there. Jer wants to have a think here. He wants to have a long, hard think. He's still got an overpair. Why should he put Conlon on a higher overpair?
4 wins.
That was a great fold. That was a great fold by Jared Martin. He let him go. The way the chips stand on this feature table after 2 levels, all 8 players who started this tournament at the feature table remain. But what a story it's been. Gerard Martin down to 4,000, back up and down again in 7th position. Anders Rasmussen, he is the chip leader so far, but he'll be a little upset at how the 7,000 he was ahead went down to 12,000. Good starts for Conlin, Galetsiunas, and McKeever.
We provide a seated massage service for the players while they're playing poker. We've been working with the Irish Open for a couple of years now, and find we're always really popular with the guys. They're always very, well, if they're not stressed, they're tense, one of the two really. It divides the players. Some guys can't stand having a massage, they can't concentrate while they're playing, but some guys love it, especially if they've got a big pile of chips. They find it helps them to just not do anything stupid and get all the chips, but they love us. We're always really popular when we come.
Tonight here in Brady's Otranka, we're running a €100 satellite to the Irish Open, which the winner will walk out with a package worth €3,500 to the Irish Open. The satellite allows players to qualify for massive tournaments where they wouldn't be able to afford to buy in on their own. So a group of players come together and they put in their few bob, and the winner then will qualify for a bigger event.
It's a great week of poker. It's a sort of a celebration of the game. So it'll be great fun. And you never know, could be lucky. It's very competitive. Some of the best players in the world are there. So you need loads and loads of luck to win, or to even get to the last day.
New feature table on tap, and in seat number 1, a Swede, 46-year-old Matt Sjöblom on 8,125 chips. In seat number 2, this is Catherine Hartree from Bridge North. She was the top lady finisher in the World Series of Poker a few years ago, 8,675 in chips. Seat number 3, a man who needs no introduction on the football pitch. He plays poker pretty well, Teddy Sheringham. Seat number 4, this is the Irishman Patrick Bonner on 12,475 in chips. Sitting next to him from County Offaly, Finbar Lochnan. Chip leader right now, 22,150 in chips. That accounts for the smile. From Lithuania, seat number 6, this is Vairu Otoho, or Toho as his friends call him. Economics student with just over 11,000 in chips. On his left, he's a former Irish Open champion, won it a long time ago, but he still has the title, Bill Mulrooney, 8,300. And rounding out this table, well-known player from Liverpool, the youngster Ben Blackmore on 11,950. Well, the third level's underway, a new feature table, Ross, and a great mix of sort of new faces, sporting heroes, poker players. Nice.
What a combo we got, and a very colorful bunch as well. Looking forward to the action.
Bill Mulroney, you know, it means a lot. You know, I said to him, what was the year you won the Irish Open? He said, I don't remember, it was a long time ago, but you can see how proud he was. It means something.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure he wasn't wearing sunglasses when he won it all those years back.
And Teddy Sheringham. Now, this is a guy, the sporting heroes don't come any bigger, but he loves his poker.
Oh, yeah, and he's just woken up on this level with Ace-Jack, which is going to go against Mulrooney's King-Queen now.
650.
And all our Irish viewers are doing a double take when they see the name Bonner there, and when they hear his name's Patrick Bonner, they have to wonder. Unfortunately, this is not Packy Bonner, our goalkeeping hero.
I believe Finbar Loughnane, who's made this re-raise, And it's I guess it's kind of what they call the squeeze play. And
all in.
And an all-in from Teddy Sheringham. I mean,
it's the 92nd minute of the football match for Sheringham.
Yeah.
He's gone for a goal.
Well, he's made a good raise here. He's ahead and a chance to double up. And for Loughnane, a chance to take out probably someone he grew up cheering on TV or cheering against.
Just 10% of Loughnane's chips. King Queen, he could afford it. And he gets to tell his friends he knocked Teddy Sheringham out of the Irish Open. But not yet, he hasn't.
We're sort of at anything but stage for Teddy Sheringham. Anything but the king or queen, and he doubles up.
I think he'd take 2 spades at this stage.
And there will be no split pot now. Just 6 cards for elimination for Sheringham. All the rest keep him in and healthy.
Doubles up in the first hand. He's got to be happy.
He's a guy, Teddy Sheringham. You know, I've seen him play on TV before. He's, I think, the lowest standing heart rate in history for poker players when they track that sort of thing. He's such a cool customer. Well, Sheringham's doubled up, and, you know, obvious difference. I mean, the 2,000, sticking 2,000 is so much different than sticking 20,000 in. But I think an indication, Ross, that these guys have been playing with each other for long enough that they have a good idea what kind of hands they're about, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they've obviously they've obviously had a few cat fights in the first couple of levels, and Teddy's bounced back there.
Pass. Pass.
Finbar Loughnane, he's got the chip lead, and it looks like not by accident. Very aggressive already.
Call. Option. Check.
And this is Packy Bonner, you say, in on the button?
We have to call him Patrick. The people at home will get upset if we call him Packy Bonner.
Okay. Okay. Well, Patrick's flop top pair.
Check.
But Tuto Huho has got 2 pair, and this could get expensive for Patrick.
325. Suit 6. I do. Call for 325.
So,
Pass.
Pazzi Hajimis, or as his friends call him, Paz. Paz, with the 2 pairs, bet out here. And
how does that diamond make him feel?
I think he's probably going to bet. This is where you bet and you're not sure if you want to get called or not, isn't it?
Bet 850.
Patrick Bonner got to feel he's behind here.
Yeah, just a question of, you know, we know the diamond's going to be good. Does he know? This pot's getting big already, isn't it? Is he going to bet for a value here or make a blocking bet, something like that? Lithuania, Ross, I believe, is sort of, you know, is becoming one of the growing poker regions.
Yeah, Eastern Europe, it's all pretty big out there these days.
And as Paz is an economics student, you got to feel he's pretty solid on the odds. The risk, the reward. Only 20 years old.
What an experience for him.
Call.
Well, Patrick's called this. Now, it's a tough call. There's not very much he can beat. And 2 pairs going to take it.
No.
Seems like a pretty
Even with his ace, he's got to fear the kicker being so weak.
Yeah. You know, with the 3 diamonds out there, the possible straight, the fact that a 20-year-old economics student is betting into him, all those really add up to trouble. When we saw this, the first feature table, Ross, and of course, the beginning of the tournament, with everyone kind of having sort of not much information and even stacks, you don't get that much play, but now they're really getting on the edge. You can just feel it.
Yeah, it's time to start moving. You know, you can sit back for the first couple of levels, but you got to make a few moves every now and then, and that's the position people like Teddy Sheringham are finding himself.
Nice hand for Catherine. It's not a big raise. She's considered one of the top female players in the UK. I believe it was 2006 when she was the top British female finisher in the main event. Something, she was in the top 50 or so.
Raised to 1,300.
And a re-raise from Finbar. Gosh, he's aggressive.
Wait till we see what he's got. Katrin can't believe it here. Wait till we see this.
Pass.
And what the re-raise was 1,300. And Catherine, with the 2 kings, may feel like she should just push in. And probably with Finbar's reputation and a big stack, we've already seen what he did with the king-queen. You're never getting away from kings right now.
Unfortunately not for Catherine.
Oh my God, yeah, he's got the aces. This is a cooler. She could be out of this tournament.
This is it.
Raise all in.
He's not going to wait around.
Second hand, you are never getting away from kings against aces, and Finbar, something like 4 out of 5 times right now, Ross, he is going to take Catherine out and have a massive stack. Look at this pot. Where is the king? Finbar says, I hope it's at the bottom of the deck.
Nobody said they passed the king yet. It's a good sign.
Boy, we've had some action hands.
Wow, this table knows how to play cards. They know what's good for TV. I see where they picked them.
No help for Hartree. If Lochnan takes this pot, he's going to have nearly 30K. And Hartree's going to be the beginning of some of the sad stories we're going to have in this tournament. 2 cowboys.
Glint in her eyes. She can't believe her bad luck.
Not there. Not there. Queens full of kings, and for Catherine Hartree,
Best of luck, everyone.
not her tournament, not her night.
And how polite. She wishes her players best of luck.
She's going to be left to cheer on her partner, Mad Marty Wilson, who's in this tournament as well. But for Finbar, Lochnan, he is starting to look like a man who's got it all put together.
Playing-wise, we haven't been so active, so it was nice to be able to come away for the weekends, get a few games in. Probably won't get to play other than the ladies here before the World Series, so it was nice to have this.
Well, 708 players, I believe, Ross, although we've already lost a few. We know officially now that this is a record for the Irish Open.
Indeed, I believe it is. Last time it was in the Burlington Hotel in 2007. I do believe we had 706 players in it that year, so just beat it.
And maybe even more of an achievement this year when you consider, you know, the economy's been tough, the poker scene's been a little tough, but this is what people save up for. Obviously, so many people have qualified for $100 or less in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys there who I'm sure have qualified for less than $1 who feel this is just about as good a poker experience as you can get in Europe.
And Sheringham has, I believe, limped into this pot. Ben Blackmore betting with bottom pair out of the big blind. He's not going to lose Teddy. Teddy's got kind of a reputation, Ross, as sort of a cash game player around the...
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. Oh, yeah, cash, yeah. Poker, sure.
I'll tell you, he's called here. He's got the flush draw. I have to straighten out.
He is delighted. And we've hit 2 pair. Blackmore thinks he's just landed it.
I think Teddy Sheringham's about to double up. He's going to be right back in this game.
Yeah. Will Blackmore build a little house out of his 2 pair?
650.
That's all he can hope for.
That's 650.
Little does he know.
I mean, Sheringham's got 4,100 back. So he's either thinking he can raise now, he can raise later. And he may choose the raise later option. I think the money's going to get it either way. Is Blackmore good enough to fold 2 pair?
He's just thinking what to bet here.
It's a good poker face.
Raise all in.
He's all in.
Well, he may have made the only bet that could lose his customer, Ross. I don't think he will. 2 pairs a pretty strong hand right now.
He's got to be looking at those 3 spades and looking at them again and again and thinking, how did Terry play this hand earlier on?
In Ben's mind, is Teddy capable of bluffing here? Is he capable of doing this with like an ace of spades and something else? Maybe only?
He doesn't have a lot of chips. I mean, it's the kind of thing you do.
Yeah. It's hard if you're Blackmore. I mean, he's from Liverpool. I mean, there's no way that Teddy is not one of his sporting heroes. There's just no way. It's a big ask for him here.
Staring down a sporting idol.
He's really in the stew pot here. It's almost like he wants to fold, but how can he fold? 2 pair looks so strong, but at this stage, you can only beat a bluff.
Yeah.
That's a quality play. That's a quality player, and Teddy's sharing him. He takes the pot.
You owe me 50.
I work for the Jackpot Card Club, and basically we are the tournament organisers for Paddy Power Poker for the duration of the weekend. The problems are with the TDs. The TDs during the day are dealing with the majority of the problems, and that's just problems at the table, and the decision-making process has to be standard for all the TDs, that they know what they're doing, and the fact that there's no really problems on the tables, and the fact that nobody knows what's going on. But it's to make sure that everybody's happy with the decision as well. For this amount of money, there's always going to be players upset, and you will have to deal with that, you know. But that's in every tournament anyway. You're going to find players like that. A lot of people don't realise the amount of work that actually goes into organising an event. You don't just turn up 2 days before this event and it's ready to go. There's months of planning goes into something like that, you know. So it's nice, but you finish one and you're nearly planning for the next one again.
New players sliding into the empty seat on the featured table. Irishman Tommy Watson, 88.50 in chips. And a lovely spring outfit for the Easter weekend.
Kickoff.
You can hear the loudspeaker. There's announcements. There's other tournaments going to be starting up when the tables go out. Patrick Bonner's limped here with the ace-5.
Raise 600. Pass.
And I think Mulrooney's announced raise.
Well, he's picked a good time to do it.
Pass.
It is sort of among the ways the game changes and moves on, Barney. This sort of idea that if someone limps, just calls, you must punish him. It's happening all the time now.
Well, I mean, it's as if Mulrooney knows exactly the kind of hand that his opponent would be limping with, and Mulrooney's very unlucky actually that Bonner has managed to hit his kicker and checked possibly with the intention of calling or raising. Now he's betting his own hand,
and he's got a slight problem here, Mulrooney. Now if he raises here, how beautiful will it be?
Well, you have to feel as if he knows exactly where he is with his opponent here, you know, and he's saying, okay, I may have missed the flop, but the queen's good for me.
1600.
And I don't think that's the kind of card that you had in your calling hand before the flop. So that's great, strong play by Mulrooney. You know, he figured that maybe Bonner was just trying to take it away with nothing at all, but
yeah, I mean, if he bets that pot on the flop, Mulrooney, he loses money. He's found the only way to win it. That's class, isn't it?
Very, very impressive indeed, Jesse.
He was playing the perfect game earlier, Mulrooney, for his stack size.
Yes.
And it could have been coincidence, right? That could be his game all the time for every stack size.
Yeah, but I doubt it because he's a former Irish Open champion. I think that he's got a lot of moves. We've already seen that. We've seen him come over the top with no hand at least once.
And poor Patrick Bonner's down to just over 10 big blinds. You feel like the flush draw here, enough to commit?
Check.
Well, absolutely. If there's 2 diamonds on that board, that's plenty for him. He's got that ace as well.
22.75.
And Lockman's pretty sick. And I don't know. Is this an automatic? He seems to think it might be.
Well, I mean, I suppose he thinks that Bonner's not going to shove with a 9, is he? You know, but if he hasn't got the 10 with a better kicker, then he's probably got a big draw with overs. So Lockman, yeah, I mean, I think it's a call because so much of the time we're up against the draw here, Jesse.
And also, perhaps, you know, with his stack size, he can afford to flip, is what it's turned out to be.
Yeah, I mean, he gave himself time to think. He knows that Bonner's not someone who's going to stick it with no hand. But he counted the chips, worked out the pot odds, and it was pretty much an automatic call for Lockman.
Patrick Bonner could be on his horse. He's done nothing wrong, but he needs to hit here.
Yeah, you kind of hope for him. It would only be fair now after what happened in the last big pot he was in, and he really does deserve to hit an ace or a diamond and stay in the game.
That's the code of the Old West, not Ireland.
What, not even the west of Ireland?
And perhaps not his night, just not his tournament, Patrick Bonner. He's lost nothing in defeat, though. And for Finbar, the rich get richer, over 30K. Looking well poised for it.
When you've got a big stack and you win those flips as well and you keep building, you know, you're destined for a deep, deep run in the tournament, Jesse. And Finbar with over 32,000. We're going to be seeing a lot of him, I should think.
I feel okay, enjoyed playing on it, yeah. It's a good run out. I like going to these things, you know. So, I enjoyed every minute of it, really. It was very good.
Call.
Ben Blackmore on a bit of a flurry, a couple pots in a row, and Sheringham's woken up with the kings. Has he limped here? I believe he has.
Well, this is good. I was going to say, because he's limped a couple of times, so he's set this one up nicely. And well, now this is going to play itself anyway, isn't it, Jesse?
It's a complete cooler here, and you feel for Paz because money's going in, right?
Money's going in, you know, and not only has Sheringham limped and passed a few times, Paz has raised a few times and without big hands or has appeared to. So neither of them think that the other one has got anything like they've got. They're both very happy with their hands at the moment. But now it's only Teddy Sheringham who's happy with the situation.
Poor Paz.
47.5.
It is Sheringham all in, but Paz dogging it and about 4K back. This is a critical pot for him as well.
It is, and you know, Sheringham, he always seems to do is he hangs around forever on a short stack. He picks up little pots here and there, and then when the time comes, he's still there when he gets this big opportunity to build his stack. And he's going to be right back in the game now if his kings stand up, Jesse.
He certainly is, and Paz, you know, he's played well here, Diamond would help. Diamond has made him live. If Sheringham doesn't hold, he's out.
A lot of outs now for Paz on the river, and that was one of them. Well, that's very, very cruel, very cruel. But you know, to be fair, it was a hand that played itself. If Sheringham had the queens, he'd have been shoving them in against the kings as well. And it's just very unfortunate for whoever loses his pot. But very sorry to see him go. He's played very well on the short stack, Jesse.
He has. He's played great poker tonight, but it's Paz who hit the penalty in the top of the net.
I don't think he realised that I had kings. He thought he was well in front, and I played the hand nicely and got it in with the best of it. So you love us over here, don't we? I love coming over. It's a good little tournament.
Perhaps there's no man who wants to win the Irish Open as much as him, and perhaps no man who'd have a bigger crowd of support should he do so. Irishman Pádraig Parkinson in seat number 1 with just over 12,000. In seat number 2, he's a sole survivor so far, Stephen McGraw, 13,025 in chips. In seat number 3, simply known as the Don, World Series of Poker bracelet holder, and maybe one of the godfathers of Irish poker, Donnacha O'D, 13,800 plus. In seat number 4, this is Rory Hogan from Limerick City, just over 16K. And Dimps Maker from the UK, 20,000, nearly doubled up from his starting stack from Surrey. She's either the woman in UK poker most dual result or the best kept secret, aggressive Jen Mason with nearly 30,000. And on her left, this is Welshman Brian Shepherd with a short stack of just over 5,000. And rounding out the table, Alex Pavlov without his dog from Dublin. Well, Barney, what a great table. Donnacha O'D and Pádraig Parkinson both on the felt.
That's absolutely incredible.
I mean, they might be the two guys who have tried the most number of times without success to win the Irish Open. And you know it's a sore spot because they both got glittering poker resumes, but being very patriotic Irishmen, this is a title they want.
It is, and I should think that Donnacha's been making his living out of having a position on Pádraig for about the last 40 years. And but neither of them are going to be too happy to be having the tangle with each other at this stage in the tournament, Jesse.
Well, Pádraig's raised this up, and Pádraig is of the any-2 school, isn't he?
Absolutely. You know, he was a Scandinavian before Scandinavians were invented, Jesse.
He's led at this flop, doesn't need anything, just aggression. And for Stephen McGraw, you know, what's the value of the ace high? Well, he may know a little bit about Pádraig's game from having played with him, and this is strong stuff.
This is absolutely fantastic play. He's allowed Pádraig to represent, and he's not betting because he thinks his ace is in front. He's raising because he thinks that Parkinson's at it a lot of the time, and this is a great statement from McGraw.
Old Irish poker, new Irish poker. This is Irish poker. Get in there and get the chips. And for Stephen McGraw, this could be the beginning of him making a big statement about his place in the tournament and poker as a whole. So the blind's now 150-300, which is, you know, starting to get into that range where even if you're on your starting stack, you have to be careful, right?
Call of 800.
Well, this is good for Parkinson. I mean, he was recently caught out raising no hand, and now he's come straight back in again with another raise. And this time it's much stronger.
Call 800.
Yeah, and it was decision time for Donnacha O'D. I mean, could have re-raised.
He could have done because, you know, Parkinson, you know, I think he's got Pádraig's number to some extent. I think he knows that he's up against something genuine, otherwise he would have re-raised. And McGrath got in the middle with certainly the livest cards, Jesse. It's not a bad flop for the raiser there. Good enough for Parkinson to check it, in fact.
And I think this is sort of an indication of either the respect or the image that Donnacha O'D has. He calls behind you. You know, you don't like the ace high anymore, do you?
Absolutely. You know, and this is great play by Day. And he probably thought he had the best hand, actually.
Yes, 10, Sean.
You yourself.
And Pádraig thinking there, geez, what kind of image do I have? Donnacha plays off his own image and takes that one down with the worst hand. We have already seen several in this tournament of these 120 or so sole survivor qualifiers, and to a man, they seem to be playing very aggressive and very good poker. Maybe just an indication of how strong the online game is these days.
Pass, pass, pass.
Oh, well, this is interesting. Hogan just limp with the deuces and make her in there with a raise for the sevens. And I think with a suited ace-10, this time, I mean, he feels he's up against something stronger. He's out of position this time. Doesn't like his ace-10 as much as he did last time, and this one gets through. I like the way Donica, looks at the different situations and evaluates the same hand very, very differently, Jesse.
Yeah, well, he is such a wise no-limit hold'em player, and perhaps an indication that Tim Smaker is on the tighter side, or at least that's how he's perceived at this table.
Pass. Pass. Pass.
We saw Hogan raise with the queen-4 when it was folded around to him before. He's obviously a man who likes to open.
Of course, he was on the button that time, and if he's counting out a raise now, you've got to figure he's got something a bit better than queen-4.
Raise to 1,050.
That's a pretty large raise.
1,050.
It's 3.5 times the BB. What does that mean?
This is often ace-king when someone raises like that, but in this case, it's something a little bit better.
Wow.
And didn't make her, although his hand is pretty, that's far too expensive.
Yeah, usually when guys have aces, they raise a little smaller, so maybe this is nice deception from Hogan.
Pavlov.
And a call of 1,000.
Wow, how has he found just the call here? I think he's looking for a low flop. I think he's thinking that Hogan might very well have an ace-king. And if it comes a rag flop, I think this is going to be very costly for Pavlov, Jesse. Well, that king might be the saving of Pavlov.
I mean, obviously, yeah. He is now going to give himself a chance not to go broke when so many people would have.
Well, now, he's just to make sure he's leading out.
No, he's check called here.
Oh, check called. Okay, yeah, all right, yep.
And he may be willing to get away from this on the turn. This is decision time. This is the
check.
Wow. Now, I mean, it's kind of a good bit of pot control and a good bit of disguising of the hand. Now he wants to find out if he's good. And Hogan might just call this, Jesse, yes. And Pavlov found a way not to do too much money, and Hogan got an extra bet by checking behind on the turn there.
Aces and threes.
King saved you, boy. The king saved you.
Well, he said it himself. He said the king saved you, and I think that's right. I mean, I think the king made the action a lot slower, and by checking behind on the turn, the pot control and deception, Hogan got that extra bit on the river, Jesse.
Pavlov there, you can see he's in the small blind and counting his remaining chips, and to be honest, he's probably going to feel pretty good he's got so many left.
850 from seat 4.
Yes, it would have been hard for him to have lost much less in that pot. Now Hogan straight back in there with a very, very different kind of hand.
Well, this is what Rory Liffey likes to call a celebratory raise. Right after you've won the pot, right?
It's cheaper to have a cigarette or a cup of tea sometimes, Jesse, but at least he's got some kind of hand to do it with. We call it playing the rush as well, of course.
Are you getting the feeling that Pavlov and Hogan have got a bit of history? This is the third time they've matched up.
If they didn't before, they have now, Jesse. And Pavlov, this time he's got the better of it. And
a call.
Say more reasons to call than to raise, right? If you raise, it's hard to get action unless you're beat. Is that the idea, or?
Well, I mean, you could be representing some sort of a draw of your raise here, and it's horrible to keep on calling with a rag ace. And very interesting that Hogan's having another pop at it.
That is 2,350 from each force.
Well, you know, I mean, this is very, very good play by Hogan because, you know, Pavlov's got one of those kind of hands that once you're facing a second bet, it's very, very hard to like that hand now. Oh, but he knows where he stands. That's good, strong play. And once again, you know, he lost the minimum before and now he's made the maximum, Jesse.
It's absolutely incredible what these guys have going on. They're nearly psychic, and I mean, you could say that Pavlov's made a bet here where he cannot get action unless he's in terrible trouble, but he's made the right move.
I think Pavlov, you know, decided that he was representing a draw and he was disguising his ace, and that, you know, he was going to have to play it anyway, so he might as well give Hogan a chance to bluff, and that's exactly what's happened. And the Hogan, you know,
this is just for effect, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's got absolutely, he's got no hand, no draw, no way to win, and Pavlov looks like he's, you know, he's relaxed. Pavlov knows he's in front. You know, he doesn't know that he's absolutely 100% locked up, but Pavlov's very relaxed, and Hogan's just shaking his head and thinking, I just got all that money with those aces, and look what I did.
I'm the one with ace 4. I had ace 4.
And I don't know, what's the score? Is it 1-1, 2-1, or 3-0? But this Russian-Irish, maybe he's drinking White Russians, is starting to get some chips back. This game is moving at a ferocious clip. And is the level in the tournament, you just hear the hum getting louder, people getting more excited, it's getting tense.
All in best
I
seat
mean,
7.
you know, people wait all year for this event. And a lot of people coming back from their dinner break now, and they feel that, you know, that they've entered the second phase of the tournament. This is the beauty for Parkinson of playing a lot of hands.
Well, Shepard has open shoved. You know, he only had about 10 big blinds, Barney.
Right, okay, well, that, you know, it's one of those hands that plays itself. Now, everybody knows that Parkinson's got to have a proper hand to come over the top when somebody's all in.
And Parg, a lot of times would have expected to be in a race there. Pretty happy to see the under pair. Unless the 5 comes, it is going to be the end of Shepard and a nice pickup for Parkinson. There is a diamond chance for Brian Shepard.
And the straight draw as well. The 4 comes down.
He's going to need
a 5 now.
Well, the 4 is. He's going to need. He's going to need. He's going to need a few more. The 4's
Sorry. Scrub that. I'm glad you were paying attention, Jesse. You didn't fall for my April Fool.
I don't know about your feeling. I'm feeling bad enough. Good luck to you.
And Brian Shepard just didn't. Nothing really went right for him. I think he had a little trouble before he got to this table. Parkinson, that's the first pot he's won.
I'm not going to Barney Boatman saying I'd have called with that. We know that.
Well, Barney, chips have flown around this table. I mean, get a handle on it.
Wow. Look at Jen Mason. She's in such a good position to make a good deep run in this tournament, Jesse. But Pavlov, I mean, he's the player that's really impressed me up to now. As has Steve McGrath and Donica O'Day. In fact, they're all playing great, Jesse. They're all playing great.
Straight into the action. The raise on the button from Parkinson, the call from Donica O'Day. Keep your eyes peeled for this one. And Donica, as you said, he's been playing with Parg for years and years. And oh my gosh, Parg's all over this flop. And look at
O'Day. Well, yeah, but O'Day's got a bigger flush draw, so.
And Parg's bet over the pot. He's bet 2,000 into 1,700. It's the kind of thing that's inducing a shove from OD.
Well, he's got exactly the same, the kind of hand that you would shove with, and as it happens, he's got a lot of outs, considering how much of the flop Parg has hit here.
Parg's started with about 12,000. Donica's only started with a few thousand more. They're very close in chips.
Raise to 6,000.
All the chips are going in.
And raise all
I don't know if Donica can get away from this.
Well, of course he can't. And, you know, he can, as it happens, hit a king or a heart. But Parkinson, a decent favourite at the moment.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
How are you at the Hearthstone? What?
Who's favourites?
I am. I never lost one of these.
11,700.
What's the difference? 11 favourites.
See who wins it.
11,700 and change on it. They're thousands.
Still alive.
10, 11,700.
Well, these guys have been in this kind of situation so many times, and
10 and a half.
they're just going to sit back now and let fate decide. But it's a shame that we're either going to be losing one of these great players, or else we're going to be left with one with very, very few chips indeed.
What percentage did we score?
The king, the heart for OD. All the other cards are Parkinson's right now.
It's a hard one to call, like, no?
He doesn't want to hit his flush. Donica does.
Well, Parkinson, the big favourite now in this clash of Irish poker royalty. One card to come, OD needing a heart or a king.
Jeez, it's amazing we managed to get a pot going at all with those two crappy hands.
Oh, it's a flush!
Sorry, buddy.
Park's out!
Cheers, good luck, guys.
That river card, not kind. The Irish legend, NOD, has booted one of his longtime rivals, friends, and peers.
Well, he said sorry, buddy, and I think he meant it. And obviously, he wanted to win the pot, but Barry Parkinson, his old friend, he would have probably rather have had his company for a bit longer and got his chips from somewhere else, Jesse.
It was all going pretty well, but then when I got to the TV table, people who were passing before they got to the TV table all of a sudden became very brave. And I was trying to run all over the table, and they played very well. They kept playing back at me, and I kind of lost. I'm back from being in a good position to being in an average position, and then I played a pot with Donica, with my old pal Donica, sorry, my ex-pal Donica.
He didn't do anything wrong, actually. He played it well. He overbet the pot on the flop, so it looked like he had something pretty good. But Porrick raises so many pots. I've got a hand that's sort of a gambling hand. I was concerned that he could have the ace with another heart. That's the one hand that I'm going to be in really bad shape with. But he overbet the pot, and I raised, and then he moved in. I couldn't throw it away, but he was a little bit the best of it. He probably maybe 11 to 8 on or something when we put the money in.
Obviously, Donica can win with a king or a heart, but I've got two of his hearts, and we're both on the same flush, and he hit it on the river. There's very little in it on the flop. It was just, everybody did what they had to do. And, sometimes poker works like that. You get locked into a pot. There weren't two massive hands, but once the flop came down that way, everybody just did what they had to do. Sometimes it's pretty automatic.
He's one of these players that you can't really read, and he's prepared to bluff in any situation. So he's got the complete game.
But it was a wonderful tournament. The turnout was unbelievable, and I think anybody that's come to Ireland and played this tournament will appreciate it. This is as good as poker gets. There's like 2.2 million or something in the prize fund there, and guys are playing it the way Irish poker has always been played. It's been played in a very good spirit. With gay abandon a lot of the times. The Irish love a gamble, and this is just a wonderful ad for Irish poker.
Join us next time as we move down the field of entrance. We say our hello and goodbyes to some world-class players and personalities and introduce you to the bubble board. See you then.